So it's been a little bit of time since the last unboxing. I have 3 loads, 2 unboxings, and 1 singular order of wine. I will do that one last. The first unboxing I'll do is Carlisle. So I get Carlisle shipped twice a year. Carlisle being the only wine list I remain on after all these years. And typically high-end Zinfandel, some of the best Zinfandel in the world. I believe Carlisle produces it. They don't grow all their grapes. They source a lot of their grapes. A lot of 100-year-old Zinfandel vines, which I think just makes the best Zinfandel in the world. So, looks like I got 8 bottles from them in this shipment. Let's see what we got. I order twice a year. That's what they offer us, 2 offerings a year. And let's see. So, first bottle up. And it's a screw cap, so it's their one of their entry level. So it's entry level Syrah, 2019 Syrah from Sonoma County. And let's see if it has anything specific on there. Just again, low production, 165 cases of this. And always like having a few of these, sort of a open it up during the week type of thing. And here's our first Zinfandel, 2018 Carlisle Bedrock Vineyard Zinfandel from Sonoma. And let's see if there's anything fun on the back. Yes, vines planted in 1888. So this is the reason I'm on this list. These 100-year-old Zinfandel vines that are producing some of the best Zinfandel in the world. And I know I say that all the time, but this is the good stuff. Already interrupted once. So I did want to talk a little bit about Carlisle, and I think I bring it up a lot. So why Carlisle versus any other Zin producer? Because there are other great Zin producers. Turley, one that comes to mind. And I think what Carlisle does that something like Turley might not, or some other Zin producers, is it's not just overly decadent and hedonistic. There's certainly that element of it where they're juicy and delicious. They have a delicious factor for sure, but then they have an elegance to them too. So they're a little more restrained and just a little bit better balanced rather than a little bit too over the top, meaning too much fruit, too gobby, too jammy. These have a little bit more elegance that I think, as opposed to some of the others. And I think some of Turley's are great, but some were just too high alcohol, too over extracted, and a little too jammy, too big. But I think Carlisle fits in a really nice spot there. I wish I get more of their Petite Syrahs. Oh, speaking of, it's like I say it and it happens. Should say that more often. 2018 Petite Syrah, Sonoma County. So I love the Petite Syrahs, and this is a small grape, but very big wine. So thick-skinned, very tannic, very big. So not much on the back, except again it's a small production, but happy to get a Petite Syrah at a Carlisle. Really love their Petite Syrahs. But Bialy makes some really good Petite Syrahs and Zinfandels too. So another producer. So I must have got 2 because I don't have that many Petite Syrahs. And I think this is a really, really great alternative to Cabernet for steak. This really does need a meat that could stand up to it, because this wine can be big and inky. I mean, it looks like engine oil in the glass. But so this is definitely new. So this is Paso Robles Willow Creek District Syrah, James Berry Vineyard. Pretty sure this is a newer vineyard they're sourcing Syrah from. And for sure, there's not a lot on the back, except again, small production, 165 cases only of this. And high alcohol, 15.1, 2018, from Paso Robles. So a little bit further south, a little warmer. Willow Creek District, James Berry Vineyard. We'll see. It'll be interesting. Definitely have never had that Syrah from Carlisle before. And this is a Mourvedre. So another grape. Different type of grape, mostly French. They make this in Bandol, southwest France. And in, I am blanking for, Spain, called Monastrell. And Mataro is what they call it in Australia. Radiant Ridge Vineyard. I'm pretty sure I've had this before from Bennett Valley and Sonoma, and I really liked it. So grown in a volcanic rocky soil at 1200 elevation. So should be pretty sure I liked it last time, so that's probably why I got it again. Plus, I've been big into getting anything from volcanic soils. Been reading a book about volcanic soils and some of the impacts that can have on the vineyards, or on the grapes, and ultimately the wines. So Zinfandel from Carlisle Vineyard, so this is always great. This must be the one that they source their own grapes from, rather than get it from somewhere else, and it certainly looks like that. 645 cases, that's sort of bigger production, and these were vines planted in 1927, and it's interplanted with Petit Syrah, Grand Noir, Alicante Bouschet, Tempranillo, Pelourgian, so those were included. So, really cool. Carlisle Vineyards in. And one more. 8 bottles this time. And an Alicante. So I don't think I've ever seen this from them either. Straight Alicante Bouschet. So you don't see this very often as its own expression. Often, just add in a little bit. This actually, ironically, was the most... This has a very thick skin. And it's also one of those grapes, I forget the name, but it's also red on the inside. Where other red grapes actually have white juice. This red wine has... this red grape has red juice. So red skin and red juice, which isn't very common. But Alicante Bouschet has it. These don't always make very elegant wines. These were used back in Prohibition a lot because they could travel long distances and be made into whatever people needed. And especially since alcohol was illegal, people just needed their fix. So Alicante Bouschet became very big back then, and then it got sort of stripped out after Prohibition was lifted. So this is from vines planted in 1920. So it even says, this structured black as night wine should age well and develop into several decades, approximately 105 cases. So I've never had Alicante Bouschet on its own, certainly never had one for this percentage from the United States. I've had it from, I think, Argentina in like a 50%-ish, maybe a little less, from Pagani Ranch, Sonoma County again. So really cool. I will be looking forward to trying this, and I'll probably try it sooner than later, just because my curiosity. So typically when you make red wine, it is red skin and it's white juice that comes out, but then the maceration and the aging with the skins is what gives red wine its red color. So you can actually make white wine out of red grapes, but you gotta not just get them out immediately. So, which happens. So, Chardonnay, Champagne is one of 3 grapes. Chardonnay, which is white, so no problem there. But then Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier. So those are obviously red grapes, but Champagne's never really red. It's normally white. Now they can make it a little rosé, and they add the they might macerate the grapes a little bit and add a little bit of color that way. So anyway, these are the 8 wines from Carlisle. I will just show the other wine I got as well, and I got this one from SommSelect, and it's a Burgundy. So I read that this specific Burgundy from Domaine Vigo, Von Romani La Colombière, 2016. So great vintage out of the Côte de Nuit, north part of Burgundy, and Von Romani being a great village. And apparently this wine's area, the small plot, which is very close to some of the very expensive La Tâche and Richebourg, some of the most expensive vineyards in the world, and wines in the world. So this wine, supposedly, this plot of land is being sold back to an owner that's, well, just getting it back. And that owner is going to take this wine, which I paid $90 for this, which is very expensive, but the wine is probably going to get put into one of their other wines. It's going to go $400. So this being considered sort of like a best-kept secret type of thing. Now, how great's a best-kept secret when it's $90? But when you talk about Burgundy and really great Burgundy, there's always these little properties, these little producers that people are just, they know about. And apparently this was one of them. I didn't know anything about it, so I'll be very, very excited to try this at some point. I have been getting into Burgundy. It certainly goes well with certain foods, and they are very, very complex wines. Some of the most complex wines really in the world, especially how much people pay for them. So some most expensive bottles of wine in the world are from certain areas of Burgundy, red Burgundy. But they're super expensive whites, but the reds are the most expensive. So that's this unboxing, Carlisle and 1 Burgundy from SommSelect. I'm going to do my next unboxing in a few minutes here. It's going to be from the J.J. Buckley. And that'll be it for today.